Look around you right now. Your screen, your walls, your clothes, everything has a color. But here's something that might blow your mind. Color doesn't actually exist out there in the world. There's no redness living inside a strawberry, no blueness hiding in the ocean. Color is something your brain invents, a trick of perception created by light bouncing around in your eyes interpreting it. So if color isn't real in the way we think it is, what exactly are we seeing? To answer that, we need to start with something that seems completely unrelated, a beam of plain, boring white light. White light looks simple, right? Just a plain bright glow. But Isaac Newton discovered something wild back in the 1600s. He took a beam of sunlight and shone it through a glass prism, a triangular chunk of glass. And what came out the other side wasn't white anymore. It was a full rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, all spread out in a beautiful band of color. White light isn't one thing. It's actually all the colors mixed together, traveling as a bundle. Each color is a different wavelength of light. Red has the longest waves, violet has the shortest, and everything else falls in between. Now here's where it gets interesting. When white light hits an object, something happens at the atomic level. The atoms in that object absorb some of those wavelengths and bounce the rest back toward your eyes. Think of it like a picky eater at a buffet. The object grabs the colors it wants to keep and throws back the ones it doesn't. A ripe tomato, for example, is covered in molecules that gobble up blue, green, and yellow light, but they can't absorb red. So red light bounces right off and flies into your eyes. That's why the tomato looks red. It's not glowing red, it's rejecting red. This explains so many things we take for granted. A banana absorbs most wavelengths but reflects yellow. Grass absorbs red and blue but reflects green. And what about white objects? A white piece of paper reflects almost all the wavelengths back at you. Nothing gets absorbed. Your eyes get the full rainbow bundle again, and your brain sees white. Black is the exact opposite. A black t-shirt absorbs nearly every wavelength of light that hits it. Almost nothing bounces back. Your eyes get barely any light, and your brain says, that's black. Black isn't really a color you're seeing, it's the absence of light coming back. But wait, if color depends on which light bounces off an object, what happens if you change the light? Here's a fun experiment. Take a bright red apple and put it in a room lit only by blue light. What color does the apple look? You might think red, but nope, it looks almost black. The apple can only reflect red wavelengths, but there are no red wavelengths in the room, just blue ones. The apple absorbs all the blue light and reflects nothing back. No light means no color. This proves that color isn't a permanent property of objects. It's a relationship between the light source, the object, and your eyes. So, objects filter light, but your eyes are what actually decode those filtered wavelengths into the experience of color. At the back of each eyeball, there's a thin layer called the retina, and it's packed with millions of tiny light-detecting cells. You've got two types, rods and cones. Rods handle dim light and don't care about color. They just see brightness. Cones are the color superstars. You have about 6 million of them, and they come in 3 varieties. One type is tuned to detect red wavelengths, one detects green, and one detects blue. Just 3 types of sensors. That's it. Only 3 types of cones, but somehow you can see millions of different colors. How? It's all about mixing. When you look at something orange, your red cones fire strongly, your green cones fire a medium amount, and your blue cones barely fire at all. Your brain reads that specific combination and says, orange. Every color you've ever seen is just a different ratio of red, green, and blue cone signals. It's the same trick your phone screen uses. Zoom way in on any screen, and you'll see tiny red, green, and blue dots. By adjusting the brightness of each dot, screens can fake any color. Your TV doesn't have yellow pixels. It just blasts red and green so close together that your brain blends them into yellow. This leads to something really weird about color. There are 2 completely different ways to mix colors, and they give opposite results. Mixing light is called additive mixing. You start with darkness and add colors. Red light plus green light equals yellow. Add blue light too and you get white. More light, brighter result. But mixing paint works the opposite way. That's subtractive mixing. You start with white, and each pigment subtracts wavelengths. Mix red and green paint, and you get a muddy brown, not yellow. Mix all the paint colors together, and you get a dark mess. This is why art class and physics class seem to disagree about what happens when you mix colors. They're playing by different rules. Now, about 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women see colors differently from most people. This is color vision deficiency, often called color blindness. The most common type makes it hard to tell red and green apart. It happens when your red cones or green cones don't work quite right. They're tuned to the wrong wavelength, so the signals overlap and certain colors look the same. But here's the thing. Most people get wrong about color blindness. It's almost never like seeing in black and white. People with red-green color blindness still see a colorful world. They just see a different colorful world. Reds and greens might both look yellowish-brown, but blues and yellows still pop. If some people see fewer colors, could others see more? Yes, actually. There's a rare condition called tetrachromacy, found almost exclusively in women, where a person has 4 types of cone cells instead of 3. That extra cone sits between the red and green sensors, and in theory, it lets them distinguish between shades that look identical to the rest of us. Imagine 2 green paint samples that look like the exact same color to you, but a tetrachromat can instantly tell them apart. Researchers estimate up to 12% of women might carry the gene for a 4th cone, but only a small fraction of those actually develop true enhanced color vision. It's like having a secret superpower that most people never even realize they have. We think our color vision is pretty good, but compared to some animals, we're basically colorblind. The mantis shrimp has 16 different types of color receptors. 16! We have 3. They can see ultraviolet light, polarized light, and colors we literally cannot imagine. Butterflies have 5 or 6 receptor types. Many birds have 4, which lets them see ultraviolet patterns on flowers and feathers that are completely invisible to us. Meanwhile, dogs only have 2 types of cones. Their world looks mostly blue and yellow. They can't really distinguish red from green. So every species is living in its own personal version of the color universe, and none of them are seeing the real colors, because there's no such thing. Here's another color mystery. Some of the most brilliant colors in nature don't come from pigments at all. A peacock's feathers, a butterfly's wings, an oil slick on a puddle. These colors are created by structure, not chemistry. Tiny, microscopic patterns in the surface are exactly the right size to interfere with light waves. Some wavelengths get amplified and others get canceled out, creating intense, shimmering colors that change depending on the angle you're looking from. That's why a peacock feather seems to shift from green to blue as you tilt it. The structure stays the same, but the angle changes which wavelengths reach your eyes. Nature figured out nanotechnology for making color millions of years before we did. Color can even mess with your brain in bizarre ways. Have you ever stared at a bright red image for 30 seconds and then looked at a white wall? You'll see a ghostly green afterimage. That's because your red cones got tired from overfiring and temporarily stopped responding. With only green and blue cones sending signals, your brain sees cyan or green where there should be white. Your brain is also constantly color correcting without you knowing. That famous internet dress debate, the one that looked white and gold to some people and blue and black to others, happened because people's brains were making different assumptions about the lighting in the photo. Same light hitting the same pixels, but different brains, different colors. So, let's bring it all together. Color is not a thing that exists in the physical world. Out there are only electromagnetic waves of different lengths. Some of those waves happen to fall in the tiny range that our eyes can detect. Objects absorb some wavelengths and reflect others. Your 3 types of cone cells catch those reflected wavelengths and send signals to your brain. And your brain, the real artist here, takes all those signals and paints the vivid, colorful experience you live in every single day. Every sunset, every rainbow, every autumn leaf. It's all a collaboration between physics and biology happening inside your head. Color is your brain's way of making the universe beautiful. And honestly, it does a pretty incredible job. The top comment down below will be what we generate a video on next. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.